Shalom, Yasharallah. This your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, I can pushing this truth and sincerity in the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here, this quick little story, but it's not really a little story, all right? You have to kind of understand the insides and outsides of kind of how this financial system works, all right? Just on a short end, let me see if I can make this bigger. On a short end, you have you have different types of banks, all right? Like you have like let's say for here in America, right? You have your SunTrust Bank, your Wells Fargo Bank, your Bank of America, and your regular banks that me, you, him, and her we go to, right? But nevertheless, when those banks also go to other banks to get loans, all right? So nevertheless, how do I put it? They go to like the Federal Reserve. So like if you ever notice, you pull out any pretty much like any dollar bill. I know it's still on the $1 bills, but for the most part, you can pull out a $1 bill and let me see if I can find one right here. On the $1 bill, if you look on the front side, there is a seal on the left-hand side of it, all right? It's like a black seal. Like the one I'm looking at now has the letter F in the middle. But if you look at the words around it, it says Federal Reserve Bank of, this one here with the letter F says Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta, Georgia. All right, so this particular dollar bill that I have in my hand, all right, was printed in the Federal Reserve Bank in Atlanta, Georgia. All right, so again, so when those banks need loans, all right, they go to the Federal Reserve to get these loans. All right, but nevertheless, and this is for like, and then you have other banks like Lehman Brothers and things like that. Now, to put it in perspective about these types of loans, like you might go to the bank to go get a personal loan, $5,000, $15,000, $50,000, $100,000. All right, but nevertheless, when you have bigger companies and things like that that need loans, you know what I'm saying, in hundreds of millions or millions of dollars or hundreds of millions of dollars and things like that, they go to even bigger banks. All right, so for instance, like there was a video that came out yesterday on this Lehman Brothers. Let me see. See, it's all over the news now. But nevertheless, there was this started popping out, I believe, yesterday. But nevertheless, there's a different video that was telling you about the different places that bank with Deutsche Bank, which, like I'm saying, is big companies. It's not necessarily like me, you, him, and her. Like Aston Martin, right? Aston Martin, I believe, is one of the companies that bank with Deutsche, or not to say bank with Deutsche Bank, but when they need loans, all right, to continue their business, all right, they may need like, all right, we need $50 million or whatever, whatnot, you know, and then we'll wind up giving you the money back, whatever, whatnot. They go to these types of companies, all right? So the importance of that I'm telling you about all of this for is when you see things like Deutsche Bank, all right, start going under, it's not just that one bank is going under. It's not like here in America, well, they still have it here in America, but it's not like, back in the days you had, what was that shit called? Wachovia, right? The bank Wachovia wound up being bought out by Wells Fargo. All right, it's not like that when one bank goes under, another bank comes up. It's the people who was banking there, they're the ones that lost out. No, when like places like Deutsche Bank or Lehman Brothers, that's another one. All right, so you remember in 2008 when this financial collapse happened. All right, this is why all these companies where they were saying they were too big to fail, Lehman Brothers was too big to fail, because see, Lehman Brothers, they're wanting to finance in these other companies like Publix grocery store, all these different businesses that you go to. All right, now these businesses need these loans to ensure that they get their product to come in and out. All right, so you have in business you have certain terms like a net 30, net 60. You know what I'm saying? And what that means is you may go out and do services or whatever, whatnot, but you may not get paid for, like, let's say a net 30 days after, all right, or 60 days after, all right? So let's just say, for instance, you're doing a service, making pizzas, whatever, right? Maybe not making pizzas. You're going out to somebody's house to service their house, cutting grass, right? But you're not going to get paid for 60 days after you go and do the service. So now, let's just say you go to their house once a week. So you went to their house 4 times in a month, 8 times in 2 months, right, for 60 days. So you went to their house 8 times, not just them, but all these other people's houses. Now you're using up resources like fuel, not only for your lawnmowers, but also for your own truck. You also have to pay payroll to your employees and things like that, all right? You are generating the money to be able to pay for all these things, but guess what? You like net 60, so it'll be 2 months before you see the paycheck or your income come in for these things. So what? You wind up getting these loans, all right, to keep you afloat while you slowly making money, all right? But again, when you have situations like, let's say Aston Martin, right? Or the lawn service, if I can't pay my employees off because I don't, get paid for 2 months, 2 months down the line, all right, what do you think they're going to wind up doing? They're like, yo, we got to quit. We got to go find another job in order to in order to pay our own bills. All right. So this is, how do I say, the importance of these huge banks like this failing. All right. Now, Deutsche Bank, I believe there was some talks back a little bit after the 2008 situation. All right, where they was talking about there was a prospect of Deutsche Bank failing, and if this bank fails, it's like the largest bank in the world. All right, because it pretty much finances a lot of these other companies. All right, so if they was to go out of business, all these other companies that you might think is doing good or whatever, whatnot, they'll be soon after to go under, because of why? They have these loans out. All right, now Deutsche Bank is going to raise the interest to be able to pay off their bills or whatever, whatnot. All right, and which they're going to go in there while how they move around this here money. But nevertheless, you might start seeing a lot of businesses close down because of the fact of what their investor can no longer invest in them. All right, so I'm gonna play this here video real quick, and we're gonna grab a couple scriptures.
Right, Deutsche Bank has been in the news because of it. But we're going to begin tonight with a bank that doesn't seem to be able to get out of its own way. Right, Deutsche Bank has been in the news because of its ties to the Trump family business, where it lost billions of dollars on bad loans that it just kept handing out to Mr. Trump. And now they're never going to be able to collect that money. It's gone. It also reached a $7.2 billion settlement with the U.S. Justice Department in January 2017 for allegedly mishandling investors in the sale of mortgage-backed securities in the lead-up to the financial meltdown. These headlines and others in the last several years, they remain a public embarrassment. But now, Deutsche Bank is in the news again with even more serious financial troubles. It is firing 18,000 workers over the next 3 years. In fact, many were told to get their stuff and to leave today.
Now, normally when a business put out the numbers that they're planning on firing, that's normally like a small portion of what's actually going on. They're like, all right, we got to lay off 1,000 people. Come to find out, nearly 15,000 people get let go. All right. So look, expect for this here bank to wind up losing out a whole lot, and they'll go into it as well. Normally when they project these numbers, it's people at the lower end of the totem pole. But when you're dealing with all this here money and mismanaging and mishandling all this here money, all right, they start cutting off at the top as well. All right, they're pretty much liquidating this here bank. All right, but nevertheless, they're not gonna just come out there and tell you that. They're just gonna be like, oh, it's slowly failing. We gotta so-called put on the brakes before we lose everything. All right, but nevertheless, this is all according to prophecy, man. Everything is coming to an end. Everything is coming to a collapse. All right.
What gives? Deutsche Bank says it's simply restructuring its business model. But is it? And joining us now is Professor Richard Wolff, who is a noted economics professor at UMass Amherst, and who's also followed, by the way, by hundreds of thousands of people worldwide. All right, let's talk about this thing with Deutsche Bank. What I'm hearing and reading today from experts is, don't worry about it. All they're doing is restructuring, maybe changing their model somewhat. Not that big a deal. What do you say?
I say that you shouldn't believe such stories. It may be true. That's the whole point. It may be, but it may not be. And that's the terrible condition we're in. To listen.
And in all reality, look, man, they're not going to tell you that the ship is sinking and we all finna die, man. You're never going to have a scenario like that, man. Because why? They know in scenarios like this, just like if your bank was about to close down, man, they're not going to tell the people, look, we're going to wind up closing down because we can't pay the bills at 2 months on that Thursday. Because what will happen? Everybody will run to the bank and try to withdraw all their money. They'll wind up collapsing out way earlier, all right? And in situations like this, all they're doing is trying to slowly siphon out as much money as possible. Just like the stock market right now, all right? This is why they so-called have all the stock market going up and things like that. And they're giving out all these new loans, and money is easily for you to be able to get right now, all right? They gave you this new credit score and everything like that because why? They need to prop up this here stock market so they can pull out the real money up out of there, all right? These so-called smart investors and stuff like that, all right? They're basically pulling their money out because they know it's the end-all be-all, but then they're making it to the people who don't know, make it seem like it's the best time to go ahead and get in there, all right? So what? A lot of people are taking, just like the housing market crash, man. All right, they knew what they was doing. They needed more people to turn more loans, more people to get in more debt so they can start making more money off of interest. So what did they wind up doing? They told everybody, oh, this is the perfect time for you to get a new house. We got this new deal, new plans and everything like that. Everybody jumped into it, and then what they do? They wound up pulling the plug. All right, after they pulled the plug on it, they wound up liquidating all of that and wound up coming up on everything, all right? Let me continue on with the video.
To them, the people that, the so-called experts, let me just remind you, in the months leading up to the collapse of Lehman Brothers back in 2008, the kind of opening gun together with the collapse of Bear Stearns that brought us the global capitalist collapse, it would be easy to find statements by experts, by bank CEOs, by Wall Street commentators telling us not to worry, it's a detail, it only affects one bank. None of that is normally true. Deutsche Bank is the biggest bank in Germany. It is one of the biggest banks in Europe and the world. If it has serious troubles, those troubles are also affecting other banks, and they're affecting the interactions between a monster bank like Deutsche and all the other banks, since these banks do enormous amount of business with one another. The truth,
like I was explaining earlier, all right, you'll have people like, let's say, for instance, Bank of America or any company, you know what I'm saying? These bigger companies that need bigger loans, they're not going to go, you're not going to have Ford or General Motors go over to the Bank of America and try to get a business loan, all right? They're not like me and you. They don't need the same type of money that we need. You know what I'm saying? If we're trying to start a business, you might need 20,000, 40,000, 50,000, 100,000. But if you General Motors and you need a loan or whatever, whatnot, man, you're taking out maybe $1 billion or something like that, because you're going to wind up making it back anyway. But it's the cost of doing business. So what? You go to a bigger bank, all right?
truth of it is, the people who run these banks hide their
Salakia. It's just like when me and you need gas in our car, we go to the local gas station, whether it be Shell, BP. If BP's even, I don't know if they're still around, but you get what I'm saying. You go to like Shell, 7-Eleven or whatever, whatnot, all right, for us to get gas, all right. But when 7-Eleven goes out of gas, what do they have to do? They have to go to the bigger companies that me and you can't go to, and they'll send a gas truck out there and it'll fill up the gas pumps, all right. But what? You can't go to where those gas trucks are coming from and pull your car up and be like, yeah, let me get some gas. That's not the gas station for you. So even the gas station like 7-Eleven that you go to, they have a gas station that sends gas out to them to fill them up, all right. Same way with these banks. Just because you go to a bank like a Bank of America or whatever, whatnot, they wind up getting loans and money from other banks, bigger banks. So, for instance, going back to the gas situation, if 7-Eleven's supplier of their fuel wind up not being able to get gas out to 7-Eleven, do you think you're going to be able to get gas at the 7-Eleven? No, because they don't have anybody to be able to give it to them. So what? You're going to wind up collapsing when they collapse. So because 7-Eleven's gas supplier is out of business or can't get gas to them, that means you can't get gas, all right? Salaki, give me 1 second.
difficulties from the shareholders because they want to keep their jobs, from the The truth of it is, the people who run these banks hide their difficulties from the shareholders because they want to keep their jobs, from the political authorities because they want to keep the people from looking too closely, their workers because they don't want to freak people out that their jobs might be in danger. So what we're left with is very little, lots of PR and a big question mark, because clearly that bank is in serious trouble, but we won't know the extent of it until they're good and ready or something blows, and then the whole game is up. Yeah, see, that's what
And that's exactly what's going to happen, man. Just like the housing collapse in 2008, man. All right, they didn't tell you that shit was going to happen. They knew exactly what was going on. They got charts and all these different things, and that's how Esau rolled. They'd be looking at all the graphs and everything. Like, they knew it. They planned for that. All right, but they wasn't going to tell you that, because then why? You'd be like, you know what? I don't even want to get no loan if they're going to take everything that I got. They need you to come up in there, all right? And then also with these certain banks and these certain companies that was going under, like General Motors, Hummer and Saturn and Pontiac, all right? Just imagine if right before the collapse and all those things, you went and started investing into those companies, all right? Right before the collapse came, I guarantee there was somebody at the Pontiac dealership buying a brand new Pontiac. There was somebody at the Saturn dealership buying a brand new Saturn. But guess what? The very next day, hey, that car company ain't there no more, man. You basically bought the last of the last car, and that's exactly what these companies, they wanted to do. They knew they was gonna wind up consolidating those businesses, but what? They're like, well, shit, we gonna be selling cars all the way up to the very last minute, man. And we're not gonna go ahead and tell people, because why? You're gonna have a lot of people who already have these vehicles or whatever, whatnot, try to run and return them back, try to get some of their money back, and then that's just less money we got in our pocket, man. We don't need this massive chaos and panic to go on, so we'll just not tell them what's going on until the very end.
I'm thinking as well, when it gets to the point where you have to fire 18,000 people. How can you not be having some kind of difficulty, right? Especially when, let me add this caveat, by the way. As far as I know, and I'm not an expert like you are, but as far as I can tell, of all the industries in the world today, the one that gets the most favorable deals seem to me to be the banks. So they get the most favorable deals, and they're still firing 18,000 people. Explain that.
Well, here's two things. One, more than in the United States, although we have it here too, Europe has a problem. The mass of people are very angry at banks. They bailed them all out in 2008 and 9. It is politically impossible for leaders today to do again for those kinds of banks what was done before. It is politically suicidal for political leaders to risk doing that. So they can't give away the whole farm to help these banks this time the way they could, because it's too recently in the past. So I think that's why Deutsche, which no doubt tried to get another bailout, was told, well, either we're not going to give it to you, or you have to do some very big steps to make it look like we ought to do it again. Firing 18,000 people is that kind of act. But you're right, Rick. It's very dangerous. Here's how people have to understand it. This is going to be done, they say, over a period of time.
3 years, yeah.
Yeah. Now imagine you're a mid-level executive in a Deutsche Bank, say on Wall Street. You're wondering to yourself, am I on the list? Am I going to get it? And guess what? Those people are starting to look for another job last night. And they're not going to stay. They're not going to risk this unknown slaughter of their. So the bank knows that. They all know that. They have literally told their people, we're in such difficulty that you better look out for yourself, because we don't know where this is going to end, and we don't know where you fit. And even if we do know, we're not going to tell you.
Richard Wolff, as usual. Thank you.
Hey, and just like they were speaking about in the 2008 situation, but they can't do it quite like they did it back then because it's kind of too soon. Hey, but in that scenario, what happened? They wound up cutting out the middle class, man. Everybody who was slowly building up and having something, they wound up taking everything from them. So you have what? The upper class, like the high class, and the low class, the poor, the rich and the poor, all right? Now, in this scenario, the poor don't really got nothing left. They already living paycheck to paycheck, if even that, or if they got jobs, all right, or they living off of Uber and shit like that, living in their cars, all right, they don't really have much to lose. It's now these corporations and the higher up elites, man, all right, they're getting to the point where they're shutting down this here system, man. They're about to start liquidating everything, all right, which is going to bring us into what? The market of beasts, man, all right, ultimately with a economic collapse, all right. So let me go from there to some scriptures real fast. I'm going to read Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 1 through 6. All right. It says, remember now thy creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. All right. So look, right now you got all these people living it up. Everything is all good to them. They can go buy, sell, and spend and go on vacation, go shopping and all these different things or whatever, whatnot. They're not worried about the Most High, man. There ain't no calamities or anything like that going on to them in their life. They don't see these things going on, man. So what the scripture is saying, look, remember thy creator in thy youth, or pretty much is don't wait. You know what I'm saying? Don't keep putting it off to when things get bad and get rough, man. Or put it to you in the same example, man. Remember thy creator in thy youth, man. When you all young and healthy and stuff like that, don't wait till you get all extra old and you all crippled and defiled at that point in time to start seeking the Lord. Oh, Lord, where you at? Blah, 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 blah. Hey, man, if you get that relationship real early, man, all right, as soon as possible. Because why? You don't want to, in the middle of these calamities, be searching for the Most High, all right? It says, verse Ecclesiastes 12:1, remember now thy creator in the days of thy youth, while the days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. All right, just like I was saying, everything is all fine and dandy now. Don't wait until this economic collapse happen and you over there digging out of dumpsters and shit like that, trying to eat, and then also trying to seek the Lord at that point in time, man. All right. Verse 2, while the sun or the light, or the moon, or the stars be not darkened, or the clouds return after the rain. And the days when the keepers of the house shall tremble. All right. And who's the keepers of the house? The elites, the people who, it's like the head of the household, man. And who's the head of the household, especially economically, man? These Edomites, first and foremost, but these elites and these bankers and everything like that, man. But what? Now you're starting to see their collapse and their downfall, man. All right, it says, in the days when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and they that look out of the windows be darkened, and the door shall be shut in the streets when the sound of grinding is low. He shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. So what? There's going to come a time where the keepers of the house, or the elites, the higher ups, the people that's in a better position than me and you, they're going to start trembling. All right. Like I said, most of us don't know what the fuck a Deutsche Bank is, man. But you say this to these people who's really invest in certain shit like that, the higher ups like General Motors and things like that. You tell them about that type of shit, or the people at Aston Martin, like, oh shit, wait a minute. Our investors might be going broke. Like, what does that mean for us, man? We got to make it through this here year to get this here out. You know, we're paying these people off, man. What are they going to do? Hike up our interest rate to try to pay off their bills, and then just to consolidate, man? That means everything is going bad, man. That's just like you went out and bought a house, you got a mortgage now, but then now you got fired from your job. That means you ain't got no more income coming in to pay off your bills. You can already see, damn, first the lights, then the water, then they're going to give me an eviction notice, man. All right, then my credit going to be all fucked up. Then I'm going to be shit out of luck, man. All right, but this is the times that's coming, man, when the door's going to be shut in the streets, man. All right, and the grinding is cease, because why? Business is going to start slowing down. Business is going to start shutting down and things like that. And you see this with these banks like Deutsche Bank, which provides funding for a lot of different companies. All right. It says, verse 5, also, when they shall be afraid of that which is high, and fear shall be in the way, and the almond tree shall flourish, and the grasshopper shall be a burden, and desire shall fail because man goeth to his long home, and mourners go to the street. All right, and that's what you got going on now, man. You got a lot of depressed people and shit like that. Hey, look at these Edomites committing suicide because why? They falling on financial trouble, man. Verse 6, or the silver cord be loosed, or the golden bowl be broken, or the pitcher be broken at the fountain, or the wheel be broken at the cistern. All right, all your little luxurious things are starting to go away now, man. All right, instead of, you got the new Lamborghini, whatever, whatnot, the new Maserati, whatever, whatnot. Now you got to get rid of all that shit, get rid of your big ass house. All right, and you got to go take a goddamn Uber and shit, man. All right, this is when this is the times that we coming into right now. All right, well, we already been in this times for everybody in the low level, talking about after 2008 and shit like that. There's a lot of people in a messed up economic situation. All right, but now this is starting to hit these big companies and things like that. And we already seen a lot of these companies are going out of business. All right, a lot of these companies are losing their steam, man. We seen that right before Christmas last year. All these companies like Toys R Us going out of business like the same fucking month as Christmas, man. Like, how the hell Toys R Us go out of business in December? You see what I'm saying? Why didn't y'all just wait to January after you made your December sales, which you make all your sales around Christmas time anyway? Why don't you just get that little bit of money and just go ahead and close it out? But nevertheless, hey, this is all according to prophecy, man. This is all, how do I say, the Most High is planning his will, man. He's bringing these Edomites down low, man. All right, slowly but surely. He's hitting them on every side, man. He's not just giving them a head blow and knocking them out that way. Nah. First of all, he gonna cripple your toes, man, so you can't keep your balance. He gonna break your ankles, man. Fuck up your knees, fuck up your wrists, your fingers, your hands, you know what I'm saying, your back, then your neck, then your eyes. You see what I'm saying? You hurting all over the place, you know what I'm saying? It's like, somebody stubbed your toe, and you want to lift it up and hop around on it, like, oh, that shit hurt, but then your other foot's fucked up. So it's like, you know what I mean? You can't do nothing because you're getting hit from all different sides, man. And that's what's going on over here in Babylon, and that also goes into all these deaths of despairs, man. This is what these Edomites are losing their mind over, man. It's kind of hard for Jake to really see economic problems and shit like that, because in reality, Jake ain't really got shit, man. All right, Jake like to talk about how the recession happened in 2008 and all how bad it was. Like, you niggas didn't have shit. First of all, how the fuck you don't know nothing about no recession, man. All right, you don't know nothing about no depression, man. All right, there was a small group of us who was actually getting into that middle class that wound up getting all their shit taken away. But for the most part, Jake didn't have nothing to be. You got to have something to be able to have it taken away from you. All right, you can't just get evicted from out of house you don't even fucking own, man. How you get evicted up out of house and you homeless, man? You see what I'm saying? How you get your car repossessed and you riding a bike? You see what I'm saying? You got to have something for them to be able to take it away. So what? In reality, Jake didn't lose too much in that. But guess what? This is the point in time where really, like I said, the higher ups are going to start losing things, or these companies and things like that. They're going to start consolidating, which is going to be a trickle down effect, man. A lot of jobs are going to wind up shutting down and stuff like that. Imagine, like I said, with the Aston Martin or let's say you're getting your finance from a lawn business, and again, you net 60. You don't get your return for 2 months, so you can't really pay your employees at the end of the week like you need to, because the customers' checks aren't going to go through for and be processed for 2 months. All right, so what? You need these loans, all right, to make sure you can be able to pay your payroll and your overhead or whatever, whatnot. But if you can't get those loans, secure those loans, or the interest rates on those loans are too high, it's going to drive your small business out of business, because you can't pay your employees, you can't pay for your overhead, you can't pay for your resources, which is going to in turn leave a lot more people unemployed. All right, which in turn is going to leave a lot more people losing their houses, mortgages, and all these other things, which is going to default on a lot more loans, which is going to cause more stress on these banks. You see what I'm saying? So it's a never-ending, cascading effect, basically. You know what I'm saying? It's like the domino effect, man. All right, the foundation is cracking and the whole house is about to start tumbling down. All right, but Lord willing, this here lesson was edifying unto the elect. I didn't want to go too long on it, so I just wanted to bring out this quick scripture and show that little video. But nevertheless, Deutsche Bank is all over the news today, man. All right, they over here talking about just like when Lehman Brothers was going down, but really Deutsche Bank was a way bigger bank than Lehman Brothers, in an overall spectrum. You see what I'm saying? But you can see the effects of what Lehman Brothers happened, man. General Motors had to shut down a lot of their car companies and so on and so forth. A lot of companies did, all right? But nevertheless, and the housing mortgage, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac or whatever, all these people wound up having to consolidate because there was no more funding. They all had to default on their loans, all right? But nevertheless, like I said, Lord, this was edifying unto the elect. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of great millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And citation and much love for you. I can push this truth and sincerity in the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say, stay strong and shalom.